I mean, dude, you and I
Or we could riff.
could talk for fucking
Yeah,
forever.
we could riff forever. And that's a good thing. I feel like there's a lot of people, that's the lost art. The lost art of not just riffing, but actually being able to communicate, hang out, talk.
Sure.
It's weird, man. It's been a little while since I got to rip a pod. It's been a couple weeks since I had my last guest, and yeah, it's funny because you almost have to shake the cobwebs off when you get back into it and start going. So I wanted to start.
You're a natural, though.
I thank you. I still suffer from certain things of just like, wanting to get my point across, listen to the guest, have compelling content. There's like it's a fine tug of war of all the things you have to do, but it's not just a linear line. It's like 7 or 8 lines kind of all tugging at the same time. But it's fun. And the general feedback that I usually get is that everybody does enjoy it.
Absolutely.
The hard part though is getting other people who don't know me to tune in. And it's not necessarily hard because once I find somebody, like, let's say you share our episode, somebody listens, they go, oh shit, like maybe they connected with me on something. Maybe they connected with jujitsu or training or being an entrepreneur and working for yourself. Maybe there was like a specific reason they connected with me, but now they start looking at previous episodes and they go, oh wow, he's had one of my favorite athletes on, or Juji, or he had a couple of cops on, or military. And I think it's just about getting that awareness, which is the difficult part nowadays.
It takes time, man.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where like you're pushing the wheel, it's not moving, you're pushing and pushing, and all of a sudden the wheel's running. But it takes years. Like most of those guys, listen, you'll see people, oh yeah, one video, they blow up, whatever. Yeah, but most of those guys that have big followings, they didn't start to get the following for like 5 to 10 years in.
Yeah.
It takes a long fucking time.
And I was listening to Joe Rogan talk recently, and he said, I didn't start making money on the podcast until I was 5 years in.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing about that...
And he's also Joe Rogan.
That's what I was about to say. Yes. The funny thing about that is when you have to actually break that down, you just hear 5 years and you go, oh, okay, cool. But now you have to think about Joe Rogan, host of Fear Factor back in the 90s.
Yes.
UFC Octagon, doing all the interviews, comedian.
Yeah.
Tons of very powerful, large, up there friends. And you just go, wow, 5 years for him to get going. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, like that guy can make a call and get Mike Tyson here or get Elon Musk here or whatever it is, and it still takes that amount of
I
time.
gotta be honest with you, I wouldn't bump either of them for the Handsome Homebuyer.
Thank you.
The Handsome Homebuyer always has a place on Rizology.
I feel love.
Yes, and with Kenji and I, you are always welcome on Rizology. No one gets bumped from my Handsome Homebuyer.
I'm honored to actually be in with Kenji. I feel like Kenji doesn't love everybody.
He does not love everybody. I saw some girls will be like, "Oh, I can't wait to come over and cuddle with Kenji." I go, "You have no clue that he's not. I'm the cuddly one. Kenji is not cuddly. Kenji does not give a fuck about anybody except for me and my mom and Tyler. He loves Tyler.
That's cool.
But that's because he grew up with him during COVID, and
Yeah.
he was over my house every day. And Tyler just said, "Yo, I just need this dog to love me." So I get to be there every day, seeing him and this and that. And Kenji's gotten nasty with him a couple times because he pushes it a little bit. He'll, I think I've told the pill story before on here, but I'll tell it again. Kenji has epilepsy, and he needs his.
Really?
Oh yeah, I didn't know if you knew
did
that.
not know.
Okay, so he needs his medicine. That's why I do the 6:15 because he needs his pills at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. every 12 hours on the dot.
That's common with dogs. Are we rolling, by the way?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm dog.
Yeah, so basically he needs his pills every 12 hours.
Yep.
And it's 3 Keppra and 1 potassium bromide. So it's all human grade anticonvulsants. So I was away on a business trip over in Wisconsin in August of this past year. My mom usually watches Kenji when I'm not home. And because she's the only one that can really dig her fingers in his throat that he's comfortable with to put the pills in there because the Keppras you can't break.
Yeah.
If you break them, they're extended release. They'll absorb too quickly in his system and then they'll fizzle out.
Yeah.
So because he loves Tyler, we just said, oh, maybe Tyler can give it to him. So Tyler said, yeah, I'm there, bro. Whatever you need me to do. So because my mom couldn't go that one night. So he goes over to my mom's house and he's hanging out with Kenji for like an hour or two, whatever. And then at 8 o'clock hits, he FaceTimes me. And Kenji sits in front of him and he goes, all right, Kenji. And I'm watching him do it. Now, this is no fault to Tyler. He's never done it before.
Yeah.
This is like the second time that he's ever done. He did one supervised with us the night before I left for my trip.
Mm-hmm.
1 out of the 4 that Kenji has to take.
Got it.
So he starts putting the pill in and Kenji's spitting it out. And he's just like, oh. And I'm watching and like the time's ticking up. It's like 8:05, 8:06. And it's not that it doesn't technically, some dogs, if you're a minute off, they'll have a seizure.
Yep.
It's crazy. But he's pretty good. We've been 15 minutes late here and there and nothing, totally fine. So anyway, so Tyler starts, he's like getting irritated. You can see he's trying to put it in. It gets 1 down. Now Tyler goes for the second one. And Kenji just
not having it.
Kenji just shows him his teeth, growls, just lets one growl out, looks him right in the eye, and just walks out of the room. And Tyler just goes, I don't want to touch the dog. And I go, yeah, you probably shouldn't touch him. My mom had to come home from her appointment. She was 40 minutes away. She had to drive home. She literally walked right in. Get over here. Popped the pills in, 2 seconds, no problem. And he was all happy. He's like, hey, what's up? You're home.
You don't use the cheese method?
Can't, it's weird because he won't just swallow it whole. He can't chew it.
Yeah, so
He won't just gulp it.
I had an ex-girlfriend, had a dachshund. Dachshund had seizures. Exact same thing. American cheese, flip it, pop it in, one down, one shot.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Give it a shot.
I'll try it. He's good with me with the pills, though. I
doesn't love cheese.
I give it right to him. I pop him right in his throat. He just sits there. He's totally fine with me. But other people, opening his mouth, touching him like that, and if he was like that with Tyler, it's like, holy shit, man. I mean, that's his man. He gets amped to see Tyler.
Yeah.
So it's a wild thing, but it's very interesting to see him interact with people. It really is, because people that are pretty openly timid or afraid of him, he'll bully them. And he's not nasty, but he'll make his presence known. He'll like stare at you and then he'll walk away. He's a fucking bully. He really is. He's a bully. Yeah, he's just, and then I tell people, he's like, he looks like this cute fuzzy dog, but he's just ready at the drop of a hat. He's just ready to go. He's like, oh yeah, any dog or any people. He just looks at them. He's like, oh, this is it? Are we on? Like, no, relax, bro. Chill out, man. Just relax. The dog is just existing on the other side of the street. We don't need to fight every dog. It's Tyson in his prime. That's what I own. I own Tyson in his prime. It's fucking crazy. But anyway, Handsome Homebuyer, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Good to be here. Thanks
yes.
for having me.
Well, I appreciate you asking me to come on your show. I wanted you to come on even before I went and chopped it up with you and had a great time. You, the boys, the production team, everybody. It was a good sit down. I didn't realize that you did a full episode, like real episode, and then posted it. You never sent me a link. I would have shared it.
Oh, really?
No.
Sorry, man.
I thought it was just a clip, so that's why I was waiting. I didn't share anything.
No, full episode. We put it out on, you can listen to it, everything. We put everything out everywhere.
You guys start, I don't know if you do that regularly with the guests. You give them all the links and everything?
Every week, yeah, usually.
I was the only fucking one who didn't give a link to. That's crazy.
I got to talk to the boys. I got to talk to the boys.
That's crazy.
Dude, podcast changed my life.
Yeah?
If there's one marketing thing I could do, and I had to cut everything out, like there's only one thing you could do, podcast is it. There is nothing more powerful, in my opinion, in business than podcast.
Did you see the statistic that I put up for content nowadays?
No.
So, truth be told, I deleted Threads off my phone because it was just, it
gets too crazy.
Well, first off, it's too many things to keep up with.
Yeah.
It really is. You have to be able to focus your attention on certain things and really focus. So if you're doing Instagram, do Instagram. If you're doing Twitter, X, whatever you want to fucking call it, do that. You know, you can still spread it out, but there has to be one that you actually put all your attention on and you focus on to try to grow some type of awareness, whether it's a podcast, whether it's buying, selling homes, whatever it might be. There is one site that's going to be better than others. So anyway, what I found interesting is I've been telling the brands that I work with that we have to be more authentic with the content. Like I could keep doing these workout videos, these mashup collabs and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, people look at it and they're just like, great, another workout video. It's the same shit over and over again.
Yeah.
So a guy posted they do a lot of marketing trials and they just see what type of content captures engagement and this and that. So he posted on Threads that storytelling content is one of the best forms of content on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
He said, when we analyzed 4,000 short form videos on these two platforms, we found that the ones that use storytelling generated 23% more views and almost 20% more comments.
Yeah.
Here are 11 types of storytelling content: daily vlog, how-tos, just tell a story, reaction, secrets, blah, 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 and podcasting.
And the thing I think most people don't realize is, like, listen, you have an amazing setup here.
Thank you, bro.
You're a professional. This is what you do. I'm very lucky. I have a team of people, but you don't need that. As a matter of fact, like the more basic, just phone in your hand stuff is doing much better, in my opinion. And when I look at all the videos I've ever done, my best performing videos are the ones that are just with my phone.
So now I think that's twofold. I think it's because of the authentic feel about it and, you know, not low quality, but more average quality that everyone is used to because these things are in our hands all day.
Yeah.
Versus some people may just see a super crisp video with like amazing visuals, and not that they'll get turned off by that, but it just doesn't really align with them. They don't understand what they're looking at. Whereas they look at you filming content on your phone, it's like it's more relatable. And the other portion of that is the algorithms actually favor when content shot on phones.
Oh, that I didn't know. But it makes sense.
If you use the camera in app, they will push the video out to more people.
It's just a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And that's actually the other thing that I was going to bring up. Another thread. So I deleted Threads, but I re-downloaded it because I've been seeing a lot of statistical information on there, which I've been interested in. So like I'll see somebody post something about the algorithm or something like that, and I go, oh, that's interesting, and I'll read up on it, and I'll see where I find that portion of Threads is interesting instead of like what Twitter was years ago, which is just everyone's fucking day all day. It's like, oh, I just got a coffee. It's like, great, no one cares. So this one actually said, well, this explains why so many of us have had our reach lowered so dramatically. Businesses and creators can now pay between $45 to $350 per month to Meta to be featured more on Instagram, which means for us small businesses, it'll be impossible to be seen as medium to big businesses will be able to pay more and be seen more. Fellow small businesses and creators, what are your thoughts on this? I'm just tired. Exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
So now I'll read these. I want to get your take on that. And I'm going to read these tiers to you. So the business standards is $15 a month. I think that's what we all started signing up for when it originally dropped, where it was like the $15, you get your blue check,
for the check,
this and that, whatever. Great. So yeah, verified badge, impersonation protection, meta verified support, enhanced profile, and search optimization. So we were promised that was going to be increased engagement. We were told that, yeah, because you're signing up for the $15 a month, you're going to be seen more and this and that. Okay. I hope. Like that's what I'm paying $15 a month for. Now it's become a subscription. Business Plus now is $45 a month. And this one has all of those things, including featured account and links in Reels. Then you have Business Premium for $120 a month. And you have basically all of those on top of employee impersonation protection. So I guess that umbrella of protection of impersonation goes over your employees as well. And customized messaging in chats. Okay. And then $350 is the Business Max plan. And that one you get an account review. What does all that mean? Like, it's just a way for them to sell you tiers. And like, I understand. Shh, Kenj. I understand what I'm looking for. Parking at people outside. I understand what they're explaining all of this for me. But like, what am I really getting?
So you want my opinion on that whole thing?
I do. Yeah.
I guess I'll start with people being upset about it. I think it's just an excuse for people to use about why their content isn't performing.
Okay.
Let's just think about this. For the amount of people that, even at $350 a month, right? $350 a month is nothing. For the amount of people that would sign up for that, they don't have enough people, enough bandwidth to be able to push those things.
$350 a month is nothing for who?
For what is, for Meta.
Yeah.
Obviously, you extrapolate that out.
I thought you meant for the client paying $350.
No,
I was going to say, because I would argue that most.
No, $350
and I understand
per
what you're
person.
saying.
But what I'm saying is, like,
for Coca-Cola, it's nothing.
For Meta's making money off it. Don't get me wrong, right? But if you're paying $350 a month and you're expecting these amazing things to happen, it's not, for two reasons. A, it's not enough money to warrant it on a per person basis. Two, I think that authentically good content that people are interested in trumps everything. And I think it's a crutch for people to be like, oh, well, my stuff's not being seen because I'm not paying $150 a month. I think that's bullshit.
Okay.
I think people that, my opinion, I don't know the stats on this. This is just my feeling. And listen, certain platforms are harder than others because there's more people in the feed. So Instagram has a ton of people in the feed, so it's harder. If there's more people, it's hard to get seen. But there's still people that are really getting seen because you like to watch them. Like there's people that you look at every day probably, right? Who you find interesting, or at least regularly.
Yeah, a couple of accounts, if that. But it's more so on the intellectual side of things and statistics and things to learn and actually utilize.
Because that's what you're interested in.
Yeah, it's not necessarily, meme accounts or stuff like that.
But the point is like for you and your world of what your interests are, that's good quality content. So you're constantly checking in on that. Everybody has their own interests. It's the same thing.
I would say I check in more on YouTube versus social sites now. Even though YouTube is a social media site, I find that I check that more because I don't want my content to be tailored to me. I want to choose what I want to watch. If I want to tune into the Handsome Homebuyer, I want to watch you. I want to see you. So I'm going to go to your page. I'm not going to hope that Instagram recommends you and 50 other realtors and buyers for me. I know that I like your stuff.
I think people are so desensitized to all these things that I don't even know if the recommendation makes that much of a dent.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if you're not interested, you're not even gonna realize it, man.
Well, let's give it an example on my TikTok. My TikTok, I've deleted the app from my phone months ago. I had 53,000 followers on my TikTok. Okay. Have those 53,000 followers equated to any views on this podcast? Maybe. Negligible, if that. So I believe that it's just the matter of they saw me in the feed. They liked what we were talking about for the short stint that they watched it. Maybe they followed me, obviously. Great. Okay. But instead of like taking the next step on their own, the call to action is always there. If you like the clip, check out the full episode. Like I used to put a little plate at the end of every clip. I used to be like, hey, go check out the full episode on YouTube. It dropped so-and-so, whenever. But that never equated to 53,000 people subscribing to my YouTube channel and then liking and viewing and, oh, wow, Nick's getting 20,000 views an episode all of a sudden because his TikTok really made that difference. I find that those people just stayed in that little area that's TikTok. And that's it. They watch the reel and they move. They watch the reel and they move.
I mean, I think people behave differently in each platform, and every platform kind of works differently for me. So I'll give you an example. If I look at Instagram and I look at TikTok, right? And so on Instagram, I've put out a lot of content, like for years. I have like, I don't know, maybe like 5,000 posts on Instagram. Like we put out a lot of content in the last 5 years. The jump in followers, if you're looking at that, just happens randomly off select videos. So you'll get consistent, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 7,000 people, and then something will really hit and it'll get 500,000 or 1 million, and all of a sudden I'll pick up 1,500 or 2,000 followers. And then it'll kind of like putter along until that next video kind of pops. Same thing with TikTok. Like I put out one video, got 22 million views. I got 100,000 people off of one video. And then it just putters and starts to drop, and I have like 3 people watching.
Yeah. That was me. I wasn't posting as frequently on TikTok. And I found that because I stepped away for a little while of just constant posting every single day, because listen, like we said, you're tired. It's a fucking job. You have a team and it's tiring. To like, which site am I posting to? Let's get the short up. Let's get the YouTube short. Let's get the Instagram reel. Let's get the TikTok. Let's get all this and that. And like each one requires different music and different hashtags and this and that. That's why there are that's why there are social media strategists, and that's why there are people that manage social media accounts, because it is a fucking job. And it really does become too much where you just wanted to get your message out there. You just wanted to tell people about something or inform them on something or gain the awareness to then have them utilize the services that you can provide. But now you're like, holy shit, I can't even do my main job because I'm worrying about the 30 things I have to do just to try to get maybe a viral clip.
You know what it is? I don't think people should look at it that way. I think people have to understand you have to put out content. And the reason why you have to put out a lot of content is because you don't know what's going to hit. You really don't. Like the ones that, I'll give you an example. 2 weeks ago, I did a podcast with an attorney. We're talking about, I just launched a real estate fund.
Oh, nice.
So, the attorney put all the docs and everything together for me. Not really that exciting type of stuff. There was a clip, ironically, you have a Yeti in your hand, but there was a clip that we were talking about a Stanley Cup. The Stanley mug?
Yeah, was it with the lead?
No, we were just talking about, he's like, what's a Stanley? I had a Stanley in my hand. He's like, what's a Stanley? We started talking about the Stanley.
Wait a minute, you use Stanley?
I have a Stanley, yeah.
You have to check for lead.
I know, I heard.
Okay, I have the swabs. I'll give you before you leave.
All right, cool.
Go on, sorry.
So I put that on TikTok, 3 million views. The video before it had 57 views. The video after had like 137 views. That thing has 3 million.
But you were talking about Stanley.
Just happened to be talking about Stanley. And everybody identified with Stanley.
Yeah.
You don't know. The reason why you have to post a lot is because it's like you're just pulling the slot machine.
Just throwing shit at a wall. It's
yeah.
like something's going to stick. Like,
exactly.
That's what it is.
The more times you do it, the more chances you have. And I think what people have to do is like they have a long form content. You can't obsess about, unless you're a professional content creator and you're going to sit there all day and come up with concepts and shoot and that's your life. You just have to, the most efficient way, get as much content shot in one time as possible, chop it up into clips, put it out there. And over time, it's going to work.
But even then, when you're a professional content creator, because I work with brands all the time, and I talk to other content creators as well, the hard thing to think about and to constantly do is to keep reinventing the wheel.
Yeah,
it's like you're thinking about just what am I gonna create for the month, not necessarily what am I gonna create for the next 5 years. You start to look at it like in that span of things. You go, I hope I don't fucking run out of ideas. It's crazy.
But that's where the talent comes in.
Yeah.
Some people are just naturally gifted like that. There are songwriters that could literally just write for decades. Like Taylor Swift. She gets a boyfriend. She breaks up with him. There's a new album. She keeps doing that. And like 20 years worth of albums, whatever your inspiration is, right? And some people can just do that, and that's their talent.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say about that? Some people are great and some people aren't. If you're great, you're going to get the views and you deserve it. And if you're not, you're not going to get the views.
Yeah. And you know, for some people it's a tough pill to swallow. I find that when I'm consistent, the numbers just they do go up. They without question they go up, and people align, because at the end of the day I try to just be, back to the word relatable. I've tried to just be relatable. I'm a regular ass guy, man. I tell people all the time, I'm a regular dude. I do some cool shit with great companies and cool people, and I hang out with my dog, and I love jujitsu, and I love going to the gym every morning. So if you find some common ground in that, and you appreciate my insights or the takes or the spins that I have on certain topics and certain things that are going on with the people, amazing human beings that I get to sit across from and talk to all the time, then you'll enjoy this. And if not, then, you know, you could just keep scrolling. It's cool.
It also depends on, as the creator, what your objective is. Like, what is your objective? When I started my podcast, originally I did it because it was fun. And then I realized, I was like, podcasts are amazing because podcasts are the most selfish yet seemingly selfless thing that you can do in marketing, in my opinion. So basically what it's really about is, if you want to meet somebody and you want to have conversation with them and you want to build rapport and a relationship with them, if you called them up and said, hey, let's grab coffee or let's grab lunch, 9 times out of 10 they're going to say no. But if you call someone and say, listen, I have a podcast, people would love to hear your story, I'd love to chop it up with you and, you know, put it out in a video and give you all this content and whatever, most people are going to say yes. But in the process of that, now you get to meet each other, right? You get to build rapport. I have relationships with people that I can now call that I would never have been able to build a relationship with had I not had a podcast. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, you have the content, you're putting it out, you're chopping up the clips, they're sharing it, you're tagging them, they're tagging you, and all of a sudden it just opens you up to so many more people so much faster.
I'd agree. Yeah, it's been a cool journey to be able to, and it also sharpens your networking capabilities on a daily.
Yeah,
like being able to do these and actually communicate and talk about, you know, people's stories and ask them questions and whatnot. It does help when you're out in the wild and actually just doing it because you want to get to know somebody.
Especially you are of the generation of, we don't speak to each other, we text. Now I'm sounding like an old man at 44. But
44, can we talk about how my man doesn't cry? Look at this guy. Jesus. My man out here, 44. He had to drop it. He had to drop the age. That's crazy. He had to drop the age because he's just like, yo, check it out.
Not a wrinkle.
Oh, you look great. You look great.
I think it's the kids, man. No kids yet.
Yeah.
I think the kids are what.
Well, you can have kids at any time. That's the benefit.
That's the beauty about being
Listen,
a man.
man, there's a lot of negatives about being a man, but I'll say one of the main positives is you could just have a kid whenever you want.
I think it's amazing being a man. I think it is so much easier being a man than a woman, in my opinion. I have the utmost respect for women. They have to deal with so much shit.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
There is so much. And what do they get?
But we're invisible.
They get free drinks.
No,
and maybe they get into the club without paying and quicker.
This isn't a comparison of men to women, but as a man, you're invisible to the world unless you're doing something. That's generally what the general consensus is as a man. Unless you're somebody of public notoriety.
Explain that.
Well, it basically means that a beautiful woman, even a regular, let's just say an average woman. An average woman is going to be seen by so many, because not only just because she's a woman, but because dudes want to get with her. They want to talk to her. They're gonna fill a quota at a job potentially because of a diversity type situation. Women are just generally more accepted in that aspect. Whereas a man, an average guy, doesn't have a lot going on for him, this and that. People are going to walk right by that motherfucker all the time. They're not even going to notice him.
I think it's the same. Like, how many average looking women do you really notice and try to kick it to on a daily basis?
It's not a matter of that though. Women are more noticed than men.
Women are more noticed.
I would say that women are more noticed than men. You put an average guy next to an average woman and they're both walking down the street. Who do you think is going to get more looks?
By what? By both men and women, or
doesn't matter in general. Who do you? It doesn't have to be a woman thing, like woman to woman type of situation. But as a woman, when there are more men in the world, who do you think is going to get more noticed?
I mean, if it's the law of averages and there are more men in the world, yes, women's going to get noticed more. Okay.
I'm just saying, and once again, it's not a competition.
But for what reason?
I just find that most men, mental health for men, just everything, they're mostly just ignored. Just is what it is. Deal with it.
That's a different thing, yes.
But that's the same thing.
You're talking about that.
That's the same thing. Let's say if they're ignored and they're not noticed as much, it is what it is. Deal with it, bro. Get it together. Whereas if something happens to a woman, most people are going to rally behind it. Oh, is everything okay? Like, whether for good intentions or bad.
I think times have changed significantly in regards to that, though. Like, if you go back to
since when?
So if you go to my father's generation, my father's 72 years old.
Yeah,
bro, those guys aren't allowed. For my father, and I know he loves me and he's proud of me, but he's never told me, ever. Because that generation doesn't do that. They don't talk about feelings, none of that. As, in this generation, it's very different. There's still a lot of problems with mental health and men are expected to be a certain way. Yes, I get it. I 100% agree with you, but it's definitely getting better.
Maybe.
Like, men that are like 70 years old, they were not allowed to cry unless like their mother died. They're not allowed to say, I love you. Like, they are stoic, hard people. Now, like, it's okay for guys like 70-year-old, they couldn't go to therapy. 75-year-old at 18 years old saying, I'm going to therapy. They were thought of as freaking nuts probably back in the day, right? Today, it's very different. So I think it's easier for men. We're not there yet, but it's definitely better than it was.
Better than it was, but on the scale of things, I find that more so for men, it's more muted out and just, that's why the sense of tribalism, the sense of community, especially for guys, that's why the Holy Black's doing it. Maddie, they're doing the clubhouse and all this stuff. He said, we're missing the third place. You're missing that camaraderie.
Yeah.
We don't have that, man. We're all walking past each other. Whereas, like I said, even if it's not the type of attention she wants, a woman is still going to be noticed. But a guy,
okay,
you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's 100% in all situations, but as a generality.
But I don't know if that's necessarily like a positive thing or the type of attention that she wants.
But I didn't say it was a positive thing. In general, though, they're going to be noticed more than men.
Okay.
So I never said.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I never said that it was going to be like the attention that she wants. Because let's be honest, they get a fucking attention that they don't want all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, which is it's very weird to watch from the other side when you have like friends that are girls. You're like, oh God.
Do you have girlfriends?
I have a few.
Actually, I don't believe in girlfriends. Like, I don't believe that guys and girls can be friends.
That's
my own thing.
And I'm going to explain it to you. So okay. Jamal and I have gone over this before on the podcast before. If there is no sexual interest or desire, then there is the ability to have a girl as a friend.
But like 99% of the time, somebody has it one way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the draw from the opposite sex biologically. Yeah,
exactly.
So, listen, I'm not calling the girls that I'm friends with, I'm not calling them to go to a fucking game. Like, I'm not calling them to, hey, come through and let's hang out and watch the fights on a Saturday night, unless they're like into jujitsu or they're into the fights.
Yeah.
But I mean, generally, if there's no sexual potential or no interest from either party, then it does make it a lot easier to be friends with the opposite sex. But that's the caveat.
But exactly.
That's the caveat. Because I try to explain this to some of the girls that I am friends with that I have no interest in. Try to explain this to them like, yo, you're in a relationship with a guy. Let's just talk from the outside in. When I talk to girls and I just go, the dudes that lurk around that act like they don't have the interest.
They're just waiting for that moment.
They're fucking waiting.
Yes.
And just like, but I've been friends with him for like 7 or 8 years. And I go, look at you, you're super hot. Like, if it's just a girl I know, like, you're super hot though. Like, do you think that this dude is not sitting here waiting in the shadows for the one opportunity where you just go, hey, do you want to come over on a Friday night? As Jamal says, that motherfucker will be bricked up and in the car by the fourth sentence of on my way, what do you want from the store?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I will die on the mountain of guys and girls are not really friends. I have like one girlfriend.
Okay, and is there sexual interest?
There is no sexual interest.
There you go.
Like, it is just, there is absolutely, on both sides. But I have one.
Yeah, but you also don't associate with any, besides in a professional setting for networking.
Because... So you say,
right?
I don't associate.
Well, you don't associate with them intentionally with the thought process of they're going to be your friend. You're not sitting there like that girl's really nice. Maybe she could be my friend. You're not sitting there like that.
No, absolutely not.
So that's why the one girlfriend isn't like a mind blowing statistic. It's like, okay, that seems about average.
Yeah.
Women in your field is plentiful. Like, how many women are in your field?
Them all the time.
And they're networking partners. They're not like I'm calling them on a Friday night to go see what they're doing for dinner.
No, it's like we're coworkers. We have a business relationship, but we're not friends. Because when you're truly, and listen, when you really think about it, how many real friends does anybody really have? Handful, if you're lucky.
If that.
So
comparatively to what you thought it was going to be when you were younger.
Exactly.
I'm gonna have this fucking squad. I'm gonna have an unbreakable brotherhood, and
as
it's
you
just
get older,
people start dropping off. You're like, wow, crazy.
No. And a lot of times, listen, it's very disappointing because there's a lot of people that you think would be in your life forever and they would never leave, and you have this amazing bond and it's like ride or die, and they end up doing shit to you that you would never have thought. And it gets to the point where you almost get callous. Like at this age, at 44, like I've had like a decent amount of emotional trauma. I think a lot of people have. I don't think you get through this life without scars.
Yeah.
It's just physically impossible. So you almost get to the point, which is actually kind of sad. And this is the one thing I probably miss about being young, because I think getting older is amazing, is the loss of that state of innocence.
Yeah.
As you get older, like nothing at this point can like really hurt me or affect me, because I've been through so much shit and suffered so much like emotional loss with, women and friends and stuff like that, that nothing truly shocks me anymore. I'm just like, I get it, and I'll just keep rolling. Like I'm almost numb to it, which is sad to say. Like I don't want to be that guy, but there's nothing I can do about it. That doesn't mean like I'm void of emotion, but if someone were to screw me over, like if a best friend were to screw me over tomorrow, I'd be like, and just keep moving.
Yep.
It wouldn't have the same impact it would have had on me 20 years ago.
I was known as the dude that cussed people out very easily. And whether that's an admirable trait or a trait that people kind of look at and go, well, I don't agree with that, that's hearsay. But what it comes down to for me is if something has been done wrong to me, someone has done something that's really fucked up, or that I don't see eye to eye with, and I can't justify the actions of what this person has done, I'm good on it. Like it's cool. Like I don't want that type of energy around me. That's big for me. Energy is big for me. If the energy is fucked up, I can't hang out with you. I can't pretend to like you. I can't pretend to like be excited to see you. I don't have that fake bone in my body. So for me, I've always been like, listen, I have my squad and I have my real homies that I'm really tight with. And I've had a couple drop off over the years. A couple that just got weird over the time.
Natural.
I had one that I was super close with one. It was like 15-year relationship. I mean, we were best friends, this and that. And then as I started upgrading and getting a little bit more progressed in life, just doing things, he was kind of staying the same point. And I'd tell him about my days, or I'd tell him about things that were going on. And he'd be like, yeah, I don't really give a fuck. He would say that to me. I'm just like, yeah, I don't like that, man.
No.
And then it just, after a while of hearing that, I just said, yeah, I'm good on this. And I cut the relationship off.
That's natural, though.
Yeah, but
that happens to everybody.
But it is natural. But I have other friends that will debate with me that, oh, that's an issue with you for loyalty, and I go, no, it's not.
No.
It's not loyalty.
No.
To me, is if someone's doing something wrong to me, I don't care how long I've known this person. I can't hang out with you anymore. We're at different points in our life, whatever. Like I'm not hurt over it. I'm not sitting there going, oh man, oh wow, what are we going to get through this? What are we going to do? I'm just going, listen, it is what it is. If that's the way you feel, if that's the way you're going to be acting, then I just can't be around you anymore. So to me, and a lot of people, it's justifiable, but I have a couple of friends, specifically one, if he doesn't listen to the podcast, but if he did, he has the thought process that if he's been friends with somebody for X amount of years, that no matter how bad the relationship has turned, he refuses to cut the friendship off because it's a loyalty thing to him. And I'm like, so it doesn't really work like that.
So I guess I'll ask you two questions about that. That person, is he growing, or is he kind of in this stagnant state?
He could be both. It's weird. He can progress and then kind of just stay very stagnant and just kind of the same. He can be the type of person that's very difficult to get along with.
Okay.
He can be that friend in the friend group. And it's nothing against him. He knows that he used to be nowadays he's much different than he was when we first met. But at this point in his, let's say 5-10 years ago, he was that dude in the group that some people would be like, oh yeah, he's the wild one. He's got too much to say. He's just like, he acts up in public type of situation. So I think people would distance themselves from him naturally. Yeah. And then he would get hurt by that and be like, oh, that's a loyalty thing.
Yeah. I mean, listen, people are really complicated. And I think the issue is a lot of people don't spend the time to really look and try to understand people and where they came from and why they are the way they are. Because we're all pretty much blank slates. I mean, there's genetics there, yes, but what we deal with, genetics and our environment obviously shape who we are. And the experiences that we go through shape who we are. And
oh yeah, no, I told you every now and then I just look at the cameras.
Sure
yeah, no, we're still running. This is always going, but I always make sure.
The trials and tribulations that I've been through have made me, hard to a certain extent. But it's also made me who I am and being able to grow businesses and things that I do now. So I don't regret any of it. As a matter of fact, like I like the stress. I kind of look for it at this point, because I know that on the other side of whatever gut-wrenching emotional pain I'm dealing with, whether it be, business or personal, something amazing happens on the other side. Always.
Things always work out.
Always. It's not that they always work out. It's not even that they work out. There's like a catapult. So it's like, if this is the graph of your life of like progress, you have this horrible gut wrenching thing, and then right after it, it's like,
Get up on that mic.
oh,
Don't you
sorry.
run away.
It's like, so I'll give you a real life example. So I was sort of married at one point, sort of. And by sort of married, I mean I had a wedding and we didn't sign the marriage license there because we didn't make it part of the wedding. And literally the next week we came back from the honeymoon and my quote unquote wife is like, I don't think we should marry. I think we should break up.
Interesting.
And I know there are people that are like, you had to know, like, no. I sat up there under the chuppah, right, without a doubt in my mind. Now, where I was at that place in my life is I had owned a Mako body shop and I was transitioning from that into real estate. So the first year I had left the body shop business. I flipped 10 houses the first year. This is halfway through the second year. So this is the end of July in my second year in real estate. So I had bought 10 houses up until that point. She left me. And in the next 5 months, I bought 40 houses, like 40 more houses in the next 5 months. And then the next year I bought 67 houses and it literally catapulted my career. Now, why did that happen? A couple different reasons. A, I had so much emotional pain that all I did was channel it into my work. And as a result, my career exploded. Another interesting thing happened was I'm a talker, obviously. You're a talker. We can relate. Mm-hmm. So I can't, like, I'm not one of those, like, stoic guys who can bottle up and you don't know that he's, like, dying inside. I was like verbal diarrhea. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
So I was so emotional about it that I would tell everybody about it. And that vulnerability, right, in business and life, if you are truly vulnerable with other people, you form this very, like, deep connection with them very, very fast. And they want to, like, yo, this is your shit. Let me show you my shit. And then you're like, okay, you know what? I thought my shit was bad. You keep your shit. But you form this connection, and then ultimately you form a bond. You start working together. You get closer. All these things happen. So me kind of sharing that story just out of necessity, because I was so hurt, literally catapulted my career. So I'll give you an example. I was on the phone with a guy, a good friend of mine now. We've done literally hundreds of deals together. And I didn't really know him that well. And I got on the phone. I'm like, let me tell you what happened. And he's a very stoic guy. He's not an emotional guy. And all he said to me was, don't worry, dude. We're going to get you some houses. Like, that was his way of saying, like, I'm going to help you. And we've literally done hundreds of deals together since that one relationship. But that has happened over and over with other people. And it wasn't something I intended to do. I was just trying to heal.
Yeah.
So that's one.
So you healed through your work.
I mean, listen, that was crazy. Like, I didn't truly get over that. It probably took me like 7 years to truly recover from that.
And how long were you guys together prior?
About 5.
Okay.
So isn't there like a rule? Like, half the time you were together? I don't know. There's some kind of rule.
Is there a rule?
There's supposedly some kind of rule.
Called?
I don't know. There's like
wedding rule?
There's some type of rule of like however long you were with somebody, it takes like half of the amount of time to get over them. Well, this took longer. You look up the rule?
Yeah, let's see.
What, the rule of breakup recovery?
Is that what it's called?
I don't know. I was just making it up. But I remember hearing like something like that.
Let's see. I want the TV so bad in the corner, and then link it in so I can look shit up.
Oh yeah, no, that's the setup.
3-week rule for breakups. Oh, it wasn't 3 weeks. Let's see. The new breakup equation from Vice. How much we can fucking believe this now. How long does it take to get over someone? Well, that depends. I missed some sandwiches more than men I brought home for Christmas. God damn.
Right.
Oh my God.
That makes you feel valued.
Sweetheart, you better start vetting these people a little bit better. Oh, this is the equation. There's an actual math equation.
There we go.
X divided by 2 equals Y. In this equation, X is the amount of time in months you dated.
Half the time.
Y is the amount of time in months it will take for you to stop baiting him on your Instagram story. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think it all depends. It depends. But that one, like, that scarred me, man.
Yeah.
I'll never be the same.
No, those things will shape you. My mom said after my first real breakup, man, it was tough, dude. We both went away to different colleges. We were together for almost 4 years. You hear my elbows, by the way? My elbows are disgusting.
Are they cracking?
That's my elbows cracking. Oh. That's every time I sit up. Yeah.
You ask me why I don't want to do jujitsu?
I don't think it's from jujitsu. I think it's just from years of just me being a douche of lifting heavy. But my mom told me, like, when I went away to college and then within the month of us being away, her cheating on me and me breaking up with her and getting broken up with, it was like a mixed thing.
See, men always get the bad rap of being the cheaters. not really the case. Women do it a lot too, and I think they're a lot better at it.
Oh, they're very good at it. Yeah. If I didn't have like real sensibility in me, you would have seen that fly right under the radar. And yeah, man, it was tough because that was like my first relationship. We had planned, like I was planning shit out. I was a planner when I was younger. I was a real planner. I wanted to marry her and move to California, which thank God I didn't, because I fucking hate that state.
Yeah, I tried that. I came right.
No, man, I couldn't
right
do
back.
it. I couldn't do it. So, I had all these plans and these ideas, and the relationship with her family wasn't that great. Her family was very hard to get along with, and
Well, that's a big thing.
it's a very big thing. You marry the family too.
That is a very
big thing.
Yeah, but you don't. The thing is, like, you don't know what you don't know. So when you're younger, like, you don't know.
Oh, bro, I'm starstruck. The honeymoon phase was 3 years long for me.
It's all just
The honeymoon phase, I
chemical.
couldn't wait to be with her every day. I was like, oh my God, I need to be with her. I just wanted to. I drove. She lived in Merrick. I drove from Plainview. She was a couple of years, like 2 years younger than
North
me.
America, South America.
North Merrick.
All right.
Yeah, I'd literally get out of high school, like class, and I would drive down and pick her up, and we'd just drive a couple of blocks away and just like hang out in my, like literally just hang out and just talk and hang out. It was fucking awesome. It was like that butterfly feeling, but just continued for years.
The best, isn't it?
It was really, truthfully, it was the best. It was awesome. I mean, even over the summers, I would go to her house. She had this huge backyard with tiki bars and probably the biggest pool in America. It was fucking ridiculous. Her dad was a contractor, and like it was so crazy. And we would just hang out all day, play music. I worked at Best Buy at the time, so it was like I'd go do my shift and that'd be done. And just you look back on all of that, and you realize the progressions of, like you said, so much has happened in your life that it's not necessarily that it ruins things for you. You just become accustomed to.
It hardens you.
And just dealing with the trials and tribulations.
Calluses, right?
Yeah, man. Like when that happened, my mom said I changed after that. It was very different. It was a very different Nick that she experienced. Not necessarily negative, just more hardened up, more calloused, more just like looking at things differently. And unfortunately, each relationship that I've been in has let me down in some way, and I've just been like, okay, like I've done since that one. I think I've done most of the breaking up except for one.
I wouldn't change any of it.
I wouldn't change any of it either, because I couldn't even imagine being married to her at this point in my life. I couldn't even imagine it. And none of my other exes either. None of them. So it's just like, I think they've all taught me lessons and gotten me to where I need to be. But I'm at that point where I'm still looking for that exciting feeling. And I don't know if I'll ever feel that excited again, because you were so young, so enthusiastic about everything.
You know what the thing too, in all fairness, is?
And something against the women that are going to come into my life, for the years to come. But it's just, like you said, life changes you. So you don't know if you're going to have that butterfly feeling for months on end, years on end.
But this is the thing about first of all, okay. How old were you then?
I was young, man. I was
18?
17, 18.
Okay. So you're 17
up
years
until
old.
I was 21.
So it's like, it's sensory overload. It's the first time, right? So there's that. But also...
First time for everything. Oh, it's crazy, Charles. It's crazy.
I'm not saying it wasn't amazing, but yeah, obviously it's the first time. But when you look back on things, people tend to remember...
All the good.
All the
amazing.
Like I have a buddy, and he has this thing. He's like, every time something bad happens in a relationship, I put it in the notes of my phone. And he goes, the only reason why I do that is when I feel the relationship is going south, and I have those moments when I'm like, oh, she's being good right now. I look at the notes to see all the jacked up stuff.
That's tough.
And he's like, you know what? Like, now I know why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So it's easy to look back and be like, oh, it was amazing. I don't know if it'll ever be like that again. It's not always 100% accurate. And at the same time, it's not, when you're mature and you're having mature relationships, it's not supposed to be the same. Mm-hmm. There's a balance. This isn't a freaking movie, man. When you see somebody and it's like, oh my God, and you're like dancing around, you hear songs and there's trumpets playing and stuff.
Flowers explode out of your pants. You're like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever.
When you're with somebody for 50 years, like my parents have been together for 55 years.
Beautiful.
And I think literally now they're the happiest they've ever been. Like, they're adorable together. They cuddle on the couch together. But like, I'm sure it wasn't always amazing. In fact, I know it wasn't amazing. And your relationship evolves. Like, you're not always swinging from the ceiling, freaking having sex 24/7.
Yeah, I was
like,
jumping in the sack
love.
40 times a day.
Yeah, there's ebbs and flows to a relationship. I think it just really matters. Like, do you respect and appreciate that person enough to give them your all every day?
Yeah. And to work through the times that it's challenging. Because nowadays I find that at least what I see, that most of the time, the second it starts getting a little hard, people are just like downloading apps again and they're just ready to do the swipe carousel.
Yeah, too many options. And you know what? People...
And then there's fatigue from having too many options.
And listen, I'm guilty of this too, and I finally realized not that long ago in my 40s that nothing is really perfect. For me, you can't tell me anything, meaning if you tell me you can't do this, I'm like, I'm going to do it. Like, I've been defying the laws of what people told me I can't do for my entire life. Like, kid, you can't flip a house. We've done 500. Like, kid, you can't do this. You can't do that. Like, I've done it. So if I'm like, I'm going to have the perfect woman and the perfect woman looks like this. And then finally I realized, I'm like, guess what? Like, none of us are the perfect man.
No.
We're not. Like, I am not an easy person to date. Like, hats off to Amanda, my girlfriend.
Shouts to Amanda.
I am not an easy person to date. Like, I work a lot. A lot of people can't handle that. You have to be like very independent, be able to like deal with your alone time. I'm an intense guy. I get tunnel vision. I have a highly addictive personality, which is why I don't do any kind of substances at all. I don't trust myself with them. So I think people just look at the people they're looking to date and be like, well, he's not perfect for me. Well, guess what? You're not perfect.
Yeah, you're not fucking perfect either. Yeah. And no one is. And the picture and this facade of perfect is not real.
It's bullshit. You have to say, listen, what are the things that are really important to me? And what is the weight of each of these things? And does this person hit the overwhelming majority of those things? Because the concept of you having this unbelievably perfect person, it might happen, but it's highly, highly unlikely.
The amount of couples that I know that paint the perfect picture on Instagram.
Oh, that's all bullshit.
On Instagram.
Yeah.
And I know what they're actually like behind the scenes. It's like cats and dogs, man.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah. Do you want to come over? No, because I don't want to hear you two fucking fighting all night. I'm good.
Now, I always say you could tell everything about a person by following their Instagram. And there's just like certain rules. Like, if you're a girl and there's pictures of you in exotic places and I don't know who's taking the picture, I am not talking to you. If you are a girl and your highlight bubbles are you in a different country, everything a bubble, somebody's funding that operation.
But come on, man.
It's probably multiple people.
Nah, come on, man. Yes. She works really hard for that money.
Yes.
Come on, man. She's the executive of fucking something.
Of her OnlyFans page that she shows feet. Yes.
Yo, so fucking side note, my mom, I think I told you, my mom broke her foot 2 days ago.
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, she broke her foot 2 days ago. She was, I went to a concert at night. She came up to watch Kenji give him his pills and hang out with him. And she was walking him around town.
That's how she broke a foot?
Sidewalk, no brick there. She went right into it and cracked it.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm taking pictures for the attorney. I'm taking pictures of her foot. And I said, yo, Karen, I'm just letting you know I'm selling these later. She's like, shut up. Nobody wants to pay for those. I said, yo, I'll tell you what. Someone's paying for this. Bro, somebody pays for everything. It's fucking crazy out here.
What goes on in the world? Shocking.
Yeah.
Like, we live in Long Island. It's a bubble.
Dog, I came from the fitness industry, man.
It's not the...
I know what some of these professional athletes were getting DMs. I've seen the DMs.
It is...
Y'all think people don't laugh at the DMs that you send? They do. Like, I'm just letting you know. If you send some weird shit, especially to a professional athlete, they may not answer you, but they've read it and they're laughing. They are. We used to fucking die. Some of the pro bikini chicks, like, can I get your worn fucking bikini? Can you send it to me? Bro, so weird, dude. Oh my God, dude. If that's your kink, get a girl and just like tell her that you'll do the laundry. I don't know what to tell her. Like, just do something. Just stop DMing people for their fucking used drawers. Just be like, yeah, I'll do hey babe, I know you've been working hard. I got the laundry. Like, that's creepy, man. Could you imagine that? Just grabbing a handful of just... My stuff from jiu-jitsu is disgusting. Dog, it is disgusting. So I when I come home drenched from jiu-jitsu, I can only, bro, and the clothes are sticking to me. I can only imagine just a dude just like, not me, nobody want mine, but fucking dude just grabbing a handful of dirty laundry and just, yo, Charles, I'm gonna make it real weird, ready? And just sitting there going, wow, this is my euphoria.
People are into crazy shit. I don't judge them. It's their thing. But like...
Oh, I'm not judging, but I am saying it's fucking gross. I'm not judging you, but I'm telling you it's gross. I'm just letting you know. And that's how you get pink eye, dog.
There is weird shit that goes on.
Yeah. So like, I used to see all that weird shit, man. Once again, we go back to everyone's not perfect. You and your kinks are not perfect.
And I don't want it to sound like you're settling, because I don't think anybody should ever settle. But I think there has to be a certain level of being realistic.
Realistic and understanding. Yeah. I mean, listen, I've been single since 2019. I've been single since 2019. It's been a minute.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's not. But at the same time, it's like I would like to have something, but I just understand that the attention or the people that I have spoken to over the years just wasn't my style, wasn't my flow. So
that's okay.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't know. There's a lot of guys and a lot of people that I see that they'll get into relationships just to be in the relationship.
No, I mean that's women. There's a ton of people like that. There's a ton of people that just don't want to be alone. When I was like, I've been in a series of relationships for the past like 15 years for the most part. But when I was really dating back in my 20s, I like kind of looked at it like a business. I kind of ran it like a business. It's like, all right, we need to buy X amount of houses this month. We need lead generation. How does that happen? We're doing direct mail. We're doing TV. We're doing this, to doing that. Like, all right, you really want to meet people? Because here's the thing. I think a lot of people, like we were talking before, for me, dating was fun. Like, I don't get emotional about it. I really like people. If it works, cool. If it doesn't. And if somebody rejects you, like if you're in a relationship, like my ex-wife, I'm in a relationship with her for 5 years and she like just runs away after the wedding a week later, that's a rejection. Like that's real. But if you talk to somebody and you have a date or two with them, they're not rejecting you. They even know who you are. Mm-hmm. Right? But I was like, all right, now this was back before they had apps. So it was like Match.com, like Lava Life, Plenty of Fish. Like you don't even know about this, bro.
Plenty of Fish. I went on Plenty of Fish on the app just for a hot second.
Oh, now? Oh. I don't know what it's like now, but this is back in the day. This is when Plenty of Fish was like, this is when like
it's like
you used to buy tokens. Like, this is old school.
Tokens.
This is 25 years ago type of shit. Like I was 19 years old. So
I think Plenty of Fish at this point, from what I saw as the results, it's like a sponsored app for tummy tucks and staples and
I haven't seen this
stomach staples.
I have no idea what
it's like every out of shape person I've ever seen in my life. Like heavy.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about like, oh wow, you got like 10 pounds. No, we're talking heavy. I was shocked. I was like, wow. I deleted the app within 4 minutes. I was like, yeah, I'm good on this.
Sad that that's what it turned into. I mean, listen, it was never like the highest caliber website, but the point is, it's like, all right, you want to meet people. It's difficult to say that, you know, you'll meet one or two people and that's going to be the person. You have to meet a lot of different people. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to run this thing like a business. I'm on like 3 dating sites. I'm going out with friends. You have friends of friends that are introducing, and you have to meet like hundreds and hundreds of people in order to find somebody that you really connect with. Even have a relationship that lasts a couple years and maybe you find that it doesn't work, but it's like, it's a process. You got to be out there. It's like creating content. Like if you want a viral video, you can't just make 1 or 2 videos. You got to make 5,000 videos.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to put the work in.
Yeah.
And you can't get emotional if it doesn't work out most of the time,
mm-hmm.
because a lot of times it's not personal.
Shit fizzles. It's just, it wasn't meant to,
whatever it is. Whatever it is. You know?
She doesn't like Kenji. No,
nobody cannot like Kenji.
I had a girl I was talking to a couple weeks ago. I was talking to her and she was just like, yeah, oh my God, it seemed awesome and this and that. I go, yeah, I like to think I'm awesome. Cool. Like we're talking and she just goes, there's just one problem. And I go, what is it? She goes, I'm really allergic to dogs. And I went, I mean,
well, it's not going to work.
I know you're not asking me to get rid of the dog, but if it's you or my man stays. Like, let's be real. But that's the homie. That dude is ready to put it all on the line for me. That's my man.
But that's the thing. And there's like, there's connections. And the weird thing is, I feel like most people, and this isn't 100%, nothing is 100%, but most people end up with somebody similar to a situation to how they grew up. Okay. Because I feel like in those are the relationships that work the best. Again, not 100% absolute.
You're saying in a relationship.
Don't flip out on me, people, and be like, that's bullshit. Me and my girl are total opposites.
Are you saying in relation to not necessarily how the person grew up, but what shaped them? So their parents?
No, both of them. Yeah. So basically, you grew up, you have genetics and you have environment, and you're a certain type of person. And I think ultimately you're going to connect and meld and be more comfortable with someone that is similar to you.
Yeah.
And I don't even think you can fight it. Like you could try to fight it, but ultimately to have a long-term successful relationship with someone that isn't similar to you, or at least can really like empathize and try to understand, which is very difficult because most people can't do that, mm-hmm. is like very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So like I used to date a lot of women that were not white. Like I am a white Jewish guy from Wantagh. I want the most exotic girl out there. Like,
Great.
that's my thing. I'm like, I want to date girls from all different countries. I want the Spanish flair. I want all that stuff. Whatever the country is, exotic, accents, I want totally different. That's what like stoked my fire. And then at the end of it all, like, I'm with Amanda, who's amazing, who just fits me. Like, Amanda is 100% Italian. Half of my family is 100% Italian. The other half is Russian, Polish, Jewish, right? So Jews and Italians, they're pretty much the same anyway.
Yeah.
Even though most Italians will argue and say the Italians never say we're the same as you. The Jews are only the one that says they're like Italians. But the point is like, we understand each other. We understand each other culturally. It just feels right.
Yeah.
Whereas in those other situations, I appreciated and I made a lot of attempts to assimilate into the culture and appreciate the culture because I love all different cultures. Like, I was Spanish in another life. I took 9 months of salsa lessons. I was on the salsa performance team. Like, I love Spanish women. They're beautiful. But me and Spanish women don't work.
Okay.
It is like
water and oil.
Oh, dude. It just doesn't work. So finally I'm just like, you know what? Not going to do that anymore. This works. But it took me 40 some odd years to figure that out. And my stubbornness of, no, I can make anything work, right? Like, you can't tell me this is impossible. You know, my CFO, my really good friend, Mark, is always like, you know, stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. And I was like, no.
No, uncharted territory. I need to. I'm Columbus.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what I want. And he's right. He ultimately was right. It fits. It makes more sense. We understand each other. Yeah.
Let me ask you about...
I feel like you're going to drop some shit on me right now.
No. Truthfully, I'm looking at the time, and I wanted to ask you about business. I wanted to ask you about what got you into it and everything like that.
I'm going to be so late for this thing.
Are you?
Oh, yeah.
I was at 1:30.
Oh, is it 1:30?
No, it's 12:30. That's why I said you don't have to push it.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah. Come on, Handsome Homebuyer.
God damn it. I'm fucking pumped up right now.
I told you, bro.
Let's do this.
I would never make you late. I wanted to ask you about just Handsome Homebuyer. How did that come about? I mean, let's be honest. I already understand where the name came from. Let's not fucking tiptoe around the subject. But what got you? Like, I know you said you switched from auto body, so you were doing cars.
So I owned a body shop franchise called Mako, Oba to Get Mako.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of it?
No. So my buddy owned Don Joe in Great Neck. I don't know if you know them.
No. So Mako is a nationwide franchise. It was very big back in the day, Earl Scheib. We paint like high volumes of cars.
Sick.
So my father owned one in Brooklyn, and there was one in Hempstead that had closed down. And he's like, listen, I'll loan you the money. This is like an amazing opportunity. The entire thing is set up. Like, it's not going to take a lot of money. It's going to take like 50 grand or whatever to start this thing. I have all the relationships in the world as far as like supplies and paint.
Which 50 grand is nothing when you're starting an auto body.
Nothing. So I did it. And I really didn't love it, but I did it. And it was an amazing experience. And I learned a lot. And I grew up in Hempstead. Like, Hempstead made a man out of me.
What's Hempstead?
I grew up in Wantaw, you know, a bubble, not reality. Plus, listen, my generation, I don't know about your generation, my generation, our parents had it really hard. They spoiled the shit out of us. Mm-hmm. Not good. Like, I say to my parents, I'm like, listen, I love you guys. We got
a lot of weak human beings now.
I'm like, I love you guys. You guys gave me everything. But if I could change anything, I wish you didn't give me so much. Mm-hmm. And you look at me like you're an asshole. And I was like, I get it. But as a result, you have a lot of weak human beings.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Hempstead. Hempstead made a man out of me. And it was an amazing experience, but I didn't love the body shop business. So I read, somebody gave me Rich Dad Poor Dad. This is going to get real cliche real fast. Somebody gave me Rich Dad Poor Dad, the book, when I was 27. I read it and I'm like, that's it. I'm going to be a professional investor. But I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
So I started studying the greats of the stock market and I'm like, this is not for me. It's a little, listen, people make a lot of money in the stock market. Yeah. Not me. Gambler vibe. I just don't get it.
It's very intimidating for me.
Stock market?
Yeah. I've tried to get into it and like really learn about it, but unless you're going to give 110% in and like really learn it.
And even then.
It's tough, man. I have a portfolio. I buy stocks that I buy companies in, like that I own products of, Apple, Microsoft, Sony. Like, I'll buy the stocks that I know are generally compounding over X amount of years. I'm not looking for those short hits and then sell type like other guys. I don't have the time to look at it. I don't have the mental capacity to take that feat on. If I didn't have all of this to worry about, maybe it would be different. But when I look at it and I see all the numbers and you start hearing all the lingo and, you know, you can learn anything from YouTube, which is amazing. But at the same time, it's just, you really got to want it to get into that world and understand it.
And it's also like, listen, again, I can't comment on everybody, but you look, a few years ago, I saw a statistic. This is like probably 4 or 5 years ago, that Warren Buffett's the most successful investor of all time, and his annual return across his lifetime was 25%. He has a 25% annualized return over his lifetime, and he's the best to ever play that game. And he's reading like company reports, annual reports all day, every day. He's not like trading on tips. This dude is buying companies based on calculations of, what is their actual true stock value based on the assets that they have. Like, you have to be really smart to be able to do that type of shit and really know. Like, that's an art. That's different. The average person who's like day trading or like day trading crypto, that is bullshit. You are going to lose money 10 times out of 10 times.
Yeah.
You want to put money in the stock market? S&P 500 index.
S&P 500.
Leave it there.
Vanguard.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Because otherwise, like, bro, it is hard. And they don't teach people how to invest. They don't want people to be financially.
They don't want you to be savvy. Otherwise, they would teach you that shit when you were in school. I was talking to one of my friends recently. It's like, we're the only animals that pay to live on this fucking planet. And it's crazy. You start to think about all the things that we pay for on a daily basis that should just technically be supplied to us because we exist on this planet. Things that you don't necessarily need to. And I think it's great that we work hard. I have to word this correctly and carefully. I think it's great that we have passions, whether it's real estate, videography, photography, whatever it might be, podcasting. I find it amazing that we have the ability to make money doing things that we enjoy doing and all this stuff. But when you start looking at the constant grip of humanity and the paying of things and all these things just to exist and be able to do the actual living, which necessarily isn't our passions, but it's the waking up, appreciating nature, going out, taking your time, being in the moment. Unfortunately, these things and the lifestyle that we've accumulated over the years, that has taken away from that natural primal state of being.
Yeah.
So it's troublesome to me because I want to live balanced. I want to live both. And this obviously hijacks kind of where you were going for a second, but I want to be able to do both. I want to be the savvy entrepreneur that has a ton of connections, that's always working for a next amazing deal and a great client and all this stuff. But I also want that balance of like being able to slow down and enjoy life.
But that's your balance. Like, I don't think anything is truly balanced.
Okay.
Because in order to be hyper successful at something, it requires a tremendous amount of time and effort. So it's impossible to balance. So balance could be, I'll give you an example. Balance to somebody who's like a high-level entrepreneur with their children could be, I spend an hour a night, with my kid before they go to bed, and I'm with them half a day on Saturday and all day Sunday, and that's balance. But if you want me to like wake up with them, cook them breakfast, bring them to school, get them off the bus, like, I'm not making any money. So like, I might be there all the time, but most likely they're not going to have, all the opportunities in the world from a financial standpoint because you just can't do it. Mm-hmm. It's also a matter of like what winds your clock. And then that kind of like sinks in with being with the right partner. Like Amanda knows I am always going to work like all the time. I'm going to be there for kids, all that stuff. But it's what makes me tick. Like it drives me. Like I can't not work. Like I love every minute of it. Like I love playing this game at the highest level. Like when I die in 300 years from now, if I don't feel that I made an impact and left everything on the table, like I'm going to be disappointed in myself. And that is one of the main driving factors for me, which is I don't want to leave this world not doing everything I wanted to do.
With your stamp on it.
Yeah. Like I want to leave the gas tank empty. I want to do everything I want to do. No fear. Like I said, what's the worst thing that happens? I'll move back in with my mom. She'll cook for me and do my laundry. I'm still stealing food now. Right?
Yeah.
So but yeah, that's the thing. Like I'm more afraid of being average, and no disrespect to anybody who's average, than I am of being broke. That is me. So like I'm going for it.
Now, do you think that average and broke go hand in hand in certain situations?
Interesting. I mean, back to your point before, which is people that are living that like middle-class lifestyle of, hey.
And what is the middle class at this point?
New York is another country, right? So it's hard in New York. But in New York, like if you as a family in New York are making $250,000 a year, like you're just making it. You have a house that's like, okay, you have 2 new cars, you have 2 kids, you're taking a vacation or 2 a year, and you don't have any money. Like that's it. $250,000 after taxes, like that's your life. You are literally like house poor. Like you have in New York, if you want to have a family and be able to do what you want to do, you have to make $500,000 or better. You got to make real money.
And how many people are actually making that money?
I mean, the median income in New York right now is like, I think in Long Island, New York is like $126,000 a year, something like that.
It's crazy, man.
At a family size.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't know how people are doing it.
Dude, I don't know how people are doing it. I've said it many times.
I
do very well, and I'm very blessed that I do so well. And I'm able to afford the lifestyle that I live with, hanging out with Kenji, doing stuff in the studio, having my studio next to my house, basically, and all these different things. But, you know, sometimes you look at the bank account, even though you're doing really well, and you're just like, oh, it's another $250 at Whole Foods. You're just like, okay, you know. And even if you go to
organic blueberries, bro, those shit's like $10 now.
$10, bro. I actually started looking up blueberry bushes, man. Fuck this. I don't care what my landlord says. I'm putting them all over the house.
You still have to soak them in vinegar to get the toxins out.
Yeah, man. They're still trying to kill me through that shit.
I see you with the baking soda.
Yo, wash your berries, people. Wash your fucking berries.
You would be shocked what comes out of those things.
It's gross.
Gross.
Wash your berries. But anyway, dude, I look around and I have friends that on one side, they go, I'll never rent because it's a waste of money and this and that. And I'm just like, I get what you mean. But, you know, then they're like, oh, I'm only leaving home until I'm ready to buy a house. It's like, okay, I mean, but then you're going to drop your whole load on a fucking down payment. And then you're just going to be house poor, which is something that I've said so many times and I hear so much, but I feel like it doesn't resonate with people. You bought your house and you can afford the mortgage for now. You can afford your mortgage in the foreseeable future, unless, God forbid, something happens economically to you or whatever, switch, pivot, whatever it might be. Great. But now the fridge goes and the landscaping needs to be done.
Yeah.
And the water bill goes up and the taxes get reassessed by the town, by the what county, whatever it might be. Yeah. Bro, you have no fucking idea. I pay $2,600 a month. Yeah, it's a lot, but I don't deal with shit.
Nope.
Here's your money. And if something breaks, I'll fucking let you know.
And if you want to move, you can move tomorrow.
I can dip anywhere I want. I don't have to worry about, now I got to sell the house. Now I got to do this. I got to do that. I can just be like, hey, man, I've been month to month with you. Peace.
People look at me like I'm nuts. For all intents and purposes, I don't have to work ever again. And I own hundreds of houses. I don't own a house that I live in. I don't even really believe in it. For me, I don't believe in really owning things that don't make you money. Like people define houses as assets. They're not. The definition of an asset really is something that generates income for you. A house that you're living in does not generate income for you. Now, I'm not saying don't buy a house because A, I'd be out of business. B, it's more of like a lifestyle thing. Like, okay, you want kids to have stability, all that. But I think people succumb to societal pressures on most things, and that's the freaking problem. And there's not enough financial literacy out there. Like, people don't sit down. Like, you go to a loan officer, you're like, I want to buy a house. Okay, great. How much money do you make? Okay, we make $100,000. Here's a pre-approval for $750,000. Go shopping. Bro, you can't buy a fucking $750,000 house. You can't. They'll literally write you up to like 47% debt to income ratio. Like, that's pre-tax. So you're paying 25, 30% tax? Like, you are broke.
Yeah.
You are broke. But they don't teach you financial literacy. There's nobody there to say, hey, this is a bad idea. So people get themselves in these situations.
It's scary. It's scary. It's scary because you can sink so quick and then no one's there to help you. The same people that gave you the fucking keys to the ship, they're just like, oh, well, that's what you signed. You knew what you were getting involved with.
But they're doing the same shit. Like the loan officer that is doing that is also the guy with the Rolex and the $2,000 a month car payment.
I have a lot of friends. My mom's a mortgage broker.
My
mom's a mortgage broker.
In this world.
My mom is all referral based. She's had her own firm for
a long time,
years and years. I remember my mom was actually supposed to network with you. How fucking ironic is that? She was actually supposed to network with you a while ago. But anyway, she's been doing it for a long time, and she saw a lot of my friends, probably 5 to 8 of my friends get into the mortgage business, and she just said, "Watch, like, yeah, bro, blowing money. These dudes fucking act like the biggest swinging dicks in the world, and then all of a sudden, the last couple of months especially, quiet. Everyone's quiet."
Because there's no business.
Yeah, man.
No business.
Like that fucking Maserati, that fucking Lambo, that all these different things that they were showing off and having. It's like all of a sudden you're driving a regular car again. And I don't get joy in that. And I'm not saying that, anybody does, but it's just like, come on, man, what are we doing out here? It's like, oh, we all get caught up in it. We all get a little bit of credit card debt after, start making some real scottos. You start looking and you go, oh, well, I like this. I'll buy this and I'll buy this and I'll buy this. And you get caught. Everybody gets caught at least once in their life. You just go, whoa, my spending's a little crazy right now. And you pull back. But if you think like, oh, shit'll just be good again, and you just keep racking, dude, it's crazy what I see.
So what people don't realize is, and a lot of people start to make those decisions when they're having like the best year of their life, which is usually followed by the worst year of their life, right? I was very fortunate because my father was in business his entire life, different businesses. So I saw the great times and I saw the really shitty times. Yep. And I learned that it's not always amazing. Like there is statistical, it is 100% fact that every 7 to 10 years, there's going to be some form of correction, and that the economy is going to get jacked up. Now, some parts of the economy get more jacked up than others. Different businesses get jacked up, whatever. But it doesn't go like this forever. Yeah. So you have to live as if it's like close to your worst year all the time. And people don't want to do that shit. They want to have the new Benz. They want to have the Rolex. They want to go on the vacations. They want to have like the Gucci and all the shit. Right? Like
just the Cameron Hanes and Origin, $28. Best American-made shirt I could ask for.
But that's the thing. And people succumb to all these societal pressures because they don't. And the ironic thing is like most wealthy people, like you can't fucking tell. Like you look at them, you never know.
Yeah.
The people that are walking around with that like head to toe monogram, Gucci Louis, like they're fucking broke.
Yeah, it's sad. It's crazy that they just feel like they have to keep up with the Joneses. That's what it winds up being. I got to keep this appearance up. I got to make it look like I'm doing good. That was how long, fucking 20 years ago, especially. How was that the perception of like, I got to get the nicest car every 3 years to lease because then it looks like I'm doing good in business.
Deep-rooted insecurity, man.
Bro, it's crazy to me.
That is really a thing.
I want to get rid of my BMW truck. I want a Toyota, bro. I want my
best car ever.
Bro, I want my Tundra or my 4Runner, drive it for 800,000 miles and then give it its first oil change.
Bro, best car ever.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that I've been blessed with the most is I always say like society has no hold on me, meaning I literally do not give a shit about what anybody thinks.
Yep.
And that like only at that point are you truly free and can live your best life and do the things that you want to do. But most people get caught up in that.
Yeah. The opinions of others and just how it should dictate their life and all the other
They're doing things for other people.
Yeah.
They're doing things for other people. And that's and it's sad. But like nobody helps you in school in regards to like your financial life. Like you have to seek that stuff out. Like I spent a lot of time and money seeking out education and paying hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s for mentors and things like that have really impacted my life.
Yeah. I purchased the book from Ray Dalio, the Principles. Yeah. And I haven't started it at all yet. And I really want to. But I just find it very interesting. Guys like that depicting all of that. By the way, all that sound, I don't know if anybody can hear it. And I don't know if you saw what was going on in the back.
Yeah.
There's a jeweler that's on the 3rd floor. And I guess he's moving out of my building. They had to remove the plate glass windows on the side of our building to get the safe out.
That makes sense.
So they have the cranes.
I thought that was a dentist and someone was getting like a root canal.
Oh, God. I'm supposed to go to the dentist next week. Don't remind me. Don't remind me. I actually have, I guess I had a filling when I was younger in my tooth right here.
And it's no good? Cracked?
No, I have a hole in my tooth now because they think that the filling just disintegrated from me grinding either at jiu-jitsu or in the middle of the night.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Can you keep the tooth?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, there's no root or anything like that. It's like a little indentation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I can feel it. It feels like a hole and it's fucking gross. I hate dentist shit. I will have an arm bar ripped on me all day before I have to hear that drill.
No, that's the worst. That in
man, dude, and you're waiting for the pain because you know it's gonna hit you at some point. You know they're gonna fucking hit a root somewhere, and you're just gonna go, oh. Side note, I have very soft teeth. My enamel is.
How did we get here?
I don't know. Again, drill sounds. My enamel is very thin. Like there's really not much. That's why it looks like some of the teeth could be discolored.
Okay.
My teeth were very straight because I had braces, but for some reason the enamel just didn't like calcify the right way, whatever, what have you. I had a cosmetic dentist that I went to, and he was using the back of the scraper. I will never forget this. And he's like scraping my front tooth, just like scraping it with the back of the picker.
Yeah.
And he actually formed a hole in my tooth.
Wow.
And he put the poker in there, like I guess bro, I hit the fucking ceiling in pain. That was like the most shocking moment I've ever had in my life of pain. I've broken my nose, had my whole forehead ripped open from a kid's tooth. Nothing compared to the dude when he...
Yeah. Goes straight to your brain.
Bro, the nerve pain was nuts.
Right to your brain.
I was like, you gotta just never touch me again. Please don't ever touch me again. Don't even look at me. Yeah, you looking at me hurts my face now.
Yeah.
So dentist stuff freaks me the fuck out. But as you were saying, handsome homebuyer, you were talking about switching up paths and the stock market wasn't for you.
Oh.
That's how we got here.
We're closing that loop. We're going to open a lot, but we always come full circle.
We always come full circle.
So
sometimes I think my memory is shot because I think of something like that, and then I remember things like that, and I go, "Oh yeah, we still good, we good."
That's the way the best conversations go. So I'm like, you know what? Real estate. So I went to NYU and took a 1-day intensive on bank-owned properties because everybody, when they get into real estate, thinks like banks are just giving houses away. That's where it is. Totally not the case. But when I went there, they said you should join the local RIA. So RIA stands for Real Estate Investment Association. They have these meetups all across the country. And people network and they have presenters and all that. So I went to the first one and I met my mentor, Carl. And I trained with Carl for 3 years before I was ready to buy my first house. Like 2 years straight training. 1 year took me to find my first house. And then, it exploded after that.
How were you looking for houses? You were just finding
at the time? Like you're just finding your way. So like at the beginning, I was just finding them MLS. Now I literally have a machine. Like I'm sitting here with you. I have guys and girls in the field that are going on appointments. I have leads that are coming in. They're being cycled through. I have transaction coordinators that are literally setting up closings. I have construction teams that are running projects. Like all that stuff goes on without me. Last month, we bought 17 houses 1 month. So we buy about 4 houses a week right now.
And then you go from that to 3 years to getting a one house.
It took me 3 years to get the first house. So, and that's what it takes. But once you get to that point and you've put in all that work, that's when the real wheel like really starts going. The cool thing was last night I got to go back to, it's called the East Coast RIA. I got to go back to East Coast RIA and I got to present alongside Carl and share the stage with him, which is very cool because it's like, listen, a decade ago I walked in here and I didn't know shit. And now I'm the biggest person to do this on Long Island.
And I'm sure it was very intimidating when you walked in there. Switching career paths. There's a whole new world for you.
Yeah,
you don't really know anything about it. The big hitters, you don't know anything about the field yet, and it's just a matter of just understanding the territory to where you get to the point that you're at now.
The biggest thing for me, it wasn't so much that I was about 30 years old at the time when I started working with him, and I felt like I was getting old and I was running out of time. And I'm like, I need to put 150% of my effort into something in order to be massive, but I don't want it to be the wrong thing. And there's no way to know.
That's how I feel.
Any overachiever is exactly that way. They're like, I don't want to waste time. Like I'm ready to run at 300 miles an hour towards that thing, but is that going to be the thing that works? Is that going to be the thing that I love? And it was hard. Like I would like yell at Carl. I'd be like, is this going to work? And he's like, what do you want me to tell you? You want me to tell you that like I know people that are multi-millionaires off real estate? Absolutely. And then I did my first deal, which was instant proof of concept. And at that point, I put the makeup up for sale. I sold the business. I kept the building. And that was it.
So you have the building, so you rent it out now.
I still own the building.
That's amazing.
I remember when I was there, financial freedom, in my opinion, 2 things give you financial freedom. And it was interesting. An appraiser walks in and he's appraising the building for like a refinance. This is before I was in real estate. And he's like, I meet a lot of very, very wealthy people. And he's like, I know the secret to wealth. And I'm like, what is it? And he says, owning real estate and owning businesses that other people run. And it's like, at that point, you don't really get it because it's like real surface, but it makes sense. But that's it. Like,
yeah, because the behind the scenes stuff, especially for businesses, the behind the scenes stuff, all the monotonous tasks are done already. And you're just the brain for the organization or the investor.
It's cash generating machines. Real estate is passive income, and you get amazing tax benefits. So, a lot of people that are in real estate don't pay any taxes, like legally don't pay any taxes. They depreciate the assets. They don't pay any taxes. And then you have businesses that generate cash flow and can be sold for multiples of whatever that cash flow is. And that's the way you do it. But everyone's not, built to do that, right? Everybody has their own thing. But if you truly want to get out of like the rat race, I think those are the only 2 ways you could do it. Because otherwise, if you were to make a lump sum, like let's say you got lucky and you hit it with crypto, since everyone's on this crypto thing now, right?
Yeah.
And you hit it with crypto 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, and it took off. Unless you made such a disgusting amount of money that you could just live off of bank interest or on a CD or whatever it is, it's going to go away. Mm-hmm. Where does it keep coming from?
How many people do you see that with, especially lottery winners?
Exactly.
How many lottery winners actually take that money that they've just accumulated and build it into 10 times?
Yeah, because money doesn't make you wealthy. Education makes you wealthy, right? And this is from someone who barely got out of high school.
I fucking hated high school.
It was bullshit.
So I would give everything I could to go back because I would do things.
Oh, knowing then what you know now.
Yes.
Totally different.
Yeah, I would do way different things. But I fucking hated school, man.
Hated it.
Every month when that, all right, let me address Sally Mae. Every month when that variable interest rate school loan comes in, y'all are gold digging cocksuckers. That is fucking crazy that you signed me up for that shit and you knew that I was going to get screwed with that $500 a month for a school loan right now. That is insane.
Forever.
Yeah, basically forever. Kenji's got to start paying for some of the shit around here. So I'm going to put it. Do you have a position at Handsome Homebuyer to hire Kenji?
I got Kenji.
Do you have security? Is whatever position?
Now. We do now.
Security position that you could have him go on? Because I need him to do something. And it's crazy. It's just a freeloader, man.
But again, like back to what we talked about before, it's like it's societal pressures. Now, I was very lucky. My dad worked his ass off, and he paid to put me through school. Can't thank him enough for that. But you go to school. I didn't learn shit in school.
Yeah.
I ended up when I was 37 going back and put myself through NYU to get my master's degree in real estate development. That was awesome. But my 4-year degree, I didn't learn shit.
No, I didn't learn anything.
Not a
I went to
goddamn
Quinnipiac,
thing.
bro. Listen, man, I did 2 years at Nassau, and
You had a good time though.
I didn't.
No?
I didn't have a good time.
No?
Didn't party. I didn't hook up with anybody when I was away at
Really?
school. Not a single.
Like you'd be the life of the party guy.
Nope. I started bodybuilding. I went away and that was it, bro. That was my life. I went to the gym. I put my head down. I did everything I had to do. I went to my classes. I prepped my meals. That was my life when I was away. And in reality, I think that actually set me up for what I am today, though, because if I was bullshitting, if I didn't bodybuild, if I didn't do all that, I probably wouldn't have been on this path.
Yeah.
So it's, what is it? Hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you look at where you're at now, you look at what you've done, and you can have regrets in certain areas, but what do? They don't do anything for you. You just got to focus on the now and where you're going.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, if I could do it again, I would never went to a private school. I would never went to Quinnipiac. There was no need to do that. I should have stayed my 4 years at Nassau. College would have been paid off already.
Yeah.
Or I should have done 2 years at a SUNY school. There's very few things I agree with my father on, because I don't speak to my dad anymore. But one of the things that I do agree on is that he was pushing very hard for me to go to a SUNY school. And I was like, oh no, like I saw Quinnipiac. I thought I was going to be partying. I thought I was going to meet really hot girls, this and that. And instead I was just miserable in Connecticut in a depressing fucking state. Connecticut is a depressing state.
But you don't know what you don't know. And a lot of times like parents don't have the vocabulary to really say to you, this isn't worth it. Like this college is not an investment for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. If you want to be a teacher and you need a degree, cool. If you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, you need a degree, cool. But otherwise, you're not learning shit. Yeah. It's not doing anything for you. And I mean, I think college is not going to look the same in 20 years.
I believe I was right on the precipice of like it being not as important anymore. Like right when I graduated, it was 2014. I think the last 10 years has shown that the retraction of like, oh, you need to have this degree. It's like, no, actually, you don't need to have it because what they taught you doesn't equate to a hard worker or somebody that can learn on the fly anyway.
No.
Unless you're an accountant or unless you're something that you need that background knowledge of that type of stuff. I can understand it. Like you said, doctor, accountant, like all these different tasks and these different jobs that require that foundation. But let's just say a liberal arts degree. Let's just say communications, which is what I graduated with business and communications. Bullshit, bro. I learned more working at Apple and working in the field as a salesman.
Without a doubt. Listen, I was in college, working at a 7-Eleven, surfing all the time, trying to not get a job.
Surfing, huh?
Yeah, I used to competitively surf when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, I love that
that's
shit.
Gangster.
Love that stuff.
Want to do a Hawaii trip and go when they do the big waves?
I used to go every year.
Let's plan one.
I haven't surfed in freaking probably 15 years now.
You got all these people working for you. I mean, the Handsome Homebuyer could be 6 hours away.
It's almost there. It's 3 months away from being there.
3 months, good. So we'll go in the cold seasons.
Yeah. Second half of the year.
That's perfect.
Hawaii's, I used to go and surf the North Shore every winter, like 3-4 winters in a row.
Gangster.
It was amazing.
I've never surfed before. I'm afraid of sharks.
You don't really have to worry. I mean, the odds are pretty small. I think you're good.
I don't know. I'll swim in the open ocean, like, you know, where you can snorkel and stuff like that.
Are you worried about surfing because you can get bit by a shark?
Yeah, I'm worried I look like a seal to them. I've seen too many documentaries on Shark Week.
Dude, the percentages are like, yes, you haven't watched too many documentaries.
What's the percentage you think?
I think you have a better chance of getting struck by lightning.
What?
I think you have a better chance of dying on a plane. Like, you have a way better chance of dying in a car wreck, for sure.
On the way to the airport?
Yeah, like,
oh, shit. Though extremely rare, the chance of encountering a shark while surfing is enough to keep some people from picking up a surfboard. The likelihood of being attacked by a shark is thought to be 1 in 11.5 million.
Yeah.
And only 4 or 5 people in the entire world die each year from shark attacks. Die. Doesn't mean they're not taking a limb. I saw, what was that girl that got
Yes.
What was that movie?
Yes, I know what you're talking
Soul Surfer or some shit like that?
Yes. She did lose her arm, yeah.
Yeah, I don't need them to make a movie about me.
No,
I don't want that.
On Long Island, there's not many, so I think you're good.
But I'll tell you what, man, we used to swim pretty regularly with our buddy's boat. We used to swim in the Sound, like not the Sound. What is it? Like all the little areas, the South Shore. I mean, what is it?
Okay, yeah,
what's it considered?
Bay.
The Bay, yeah. All the little inlets and whatnot. We used to just jump in there after Flynn's and
Of course.
soak it up and this and that. And now you start hearing about, I get it, it's the fucking ocean. There's gonna be people that go, dumbasses, it's the ocean, there's sharks. I get it. But like, you don't think that there's that thick of an accumulation of them in an area.
They're not.
But they're coming in. Yeah, they are. They're coming in more.
They only come in if they can't find food. Like,
And
they can't find
food's hard, man. They're coming in and find
You're
us.
not going to get attacked by a shark.
I'm looking like a big lobster roll,
You're
man.
not going to get attacked by a shark, I promise you. Learn to surf. You'll love it. It'll change
You have
your
to teach
life.
me.
It'll change your life. I'm down. I would like to start doing it. Like when I moved to California after I graduated from college during my holy shit, I'm growing up, I need to run away from home phase. And I was in California for like 6 months and I was like, fuck this state.
I suppressed that emotion when it was time in my life.
I'm like, I'm out of here. And I really stopped surfing mostly after that. I surfed for a little bit while longer, maybe like my mid to late 20s. I just got really heavy into my job. Like I said, I have a super addictive personality. So it's like, it's all or nothing, man.
Yeah.
It's all or nothing.
That's like me with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I mean, people that have, and the interesting is I tend to be friends with a lot of like addicts, quote unquote addicts.
Yeah.
Some of them used to be actual like real addicts and aren't, but I tend to gravitate to people with addictive personalities.
Yeah, I definitely have addictive
Gotta be
personalities,
intense.
but to everything that's good though, thankfully. I've never been an addictive personality to like alcohol or anything like that.
You're lucky.
Yeah, I'm very happy about that. Yeah, I'm very happy about that. So now tell me, let's wrap because I want to get you out of here in the next 5 minutes because you have your lunch meeting. So now going to today, being a business owner, doing the podcast, projecting out everything like that.
Yep.
What's something that you wish you knew 10 years ago?
Oof.
10
years ago. I think the biggest thing lately for me is I wish I hired more people faster. Like, it's very easy to build a business that makes money if you work your ass off and if you work your ass off, you can easily build a business that makes money. Scaling a business is very difficult. Building a business and scaling a business are two completely different skill sets. Building a business is you working your ass off with an idea. Scaling a business is you understanding how to hire, manage, and put people in roles so that they can scale a business because you can't scale a business by yourself.
Yeah.
So I wish I spent more time and money paying to hire great people earlier and overpaying them. You know, a lot of people in business are like, all right, how can I get people for like the cheapest thing possible? The cheapest number possible. That doesn't work. Like, you don't grow a business. You have a person that, let's say the role pays $100,000 a year. You get something for $75,000. You're like, yeah, that's awesome. But they're like 50% of what you really, really need. On the flip side, if you pay somebody $130,000 to do the $100,000 job and they're exceptional, they'll make you 3 times their salary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that is really, really important. I wish I knew that earlier. But you know what? Like, life's a journey. You learn when you learn. And it's like, it's exciting and it's amazing. And we're growing every day. I love it. Like, life is awesome. Everything about it, everything in my business, everything that I do, every day that I wake up, it's just like, I'm loving the ride. Like, it's about the ride. Because at the end of it all, right? What do you have? You're in a coffin. There's not shit there. You can't take money with you. It's the ride. It's the memories. It's, did you do everything that you really wanted to do the way you do it?
Yeah. I agree with the hiring people. I've been trying to find good people to work with my position and my company. And it's very hard, man. I can't scale without people.
So it's also, and this is another thing that's pretty interesting. So There's a thing called, we hire using this thing called the PI test, predictive index test. You ever heard of this thing?
I have, but I don't know much about it, but I have heard of it.
Super interesting. And this kind of goes back to like everyone is fit for different types of roles. So predictive index test is a 2-question personality test. And essentially it measures like 4 parts of your personality. And based on those, it assigns you an avatar. You're a maverick, you're a captain, you're, whatever it is, right? An altruist. And those types of personality traits are great for certain types of jobs. And when we hire people, that's what we hire people off of. This kind of job needs this type of person or these 2 or 3 personality traits. And if you don't hit it, you don't get the job. Not saying that you couldn't do it, but you're not going to be the best person for that job. And the same thing with, I'll look at construction. You're a plumber. You're amazing. So you open up your own plumbing business. But it doesn't work well because you're not a businessman. You're an exceptional plumber. It's a totally different skill set.
Yep.
And that's really the thing. So you either have to say, okay, I understand where my lane is, and I either need to have to hire or partner around my weaknesses. Like there's a lot of things that I don't really do well, which is why I hire people to do them. So that's really the thing. You have to understand like, okay, this is what I'm great at. But I have deficiencies all over here, and I need that to scale a business. How do I get that around me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you grow a business.
I agree. That's something that I need to, especially the next, like, let's say 3-year, 4-year plan. That's what I need to do to take this to the next level.
Because, so not to interrupt you.
No, you're good. You're good.
Because for you to get, if you want to take this to another level, you're not a content creator anymore. You're a businessman who owns a production studio.
Yeah, agency type situation. Yeah.
You're not a creator anymore. You're a businessman. Totally different skill set, totally different set of responsibilities, totally different headaches. Is that something that you want to do? Are you wired to do that? It depends.
Yeah.
Maybe yes, maybe no. But that's the thing, it changes. Like I always tell people in real estate, they're a good realtor and then they want to become a broker. I'm like, if you're a broker, you're not a realtor anymore. You're not in the business of selling houses. You're in the business of cultivating and building agents so they can sell houses. Totally different. So that's the thing. I think people need to be honest with themselves and understand what their best role is.
Cool. I love that. Do you have to take that, by the way?
No.
Okay. Just making sure. I know I don't want to keep you late.
No.
So, Charles.
Yes.
The Handsome Homebuyer.
Yes, sir.
Please let the people know how they can contact you. You'll buy up all the homes. You're just being handsome. You're just hanging out. Where can they contact you if they have any interest in you as a human being, your content, everything like that? Just give me the list.
If you have a house you want to sell, obviously, I want to buy it. I'm sure I've been haunting most of you on every social media platform, if not News 12, Fox News, MSN, wherever. But it's handsome_homebuyer pretty much on every platform, or 516-777 sold. Listen, I love you.
I love you too, bro. You're awesome.
You are a ray of light and happiness in the gym every morning when I see you. When I walk in, I'm so excited. I love watching what you're doing. I appreciate everything about you, and I appreciate you having me here. Thank you for this.
I appreciate you, man,
and for your friendship.
Oh, vice versa, bro. For real. For you taking the time to come and hang out with me. I know you're a busy man, and this obviously is a promotion in some ways, but it's not. It's just 2 friends just chopping it up about life and hanging out. And truth be told, I don't invite people I don't want to come back on. I don't put that invite out there, but I would love to have you on any other time.
Thank you.
I will happily have you. I will bump Elon for you. Anything I can do to make sure that the Handsome Homebuyer comes through. I got to ask the call to action. Anybody that watches the episode, you gain something, please make sure you follow Charles. Follow his content. He's awesome. He'll definitely make you laugh. We got to get him his podcast with Gary Vaynerchuk too.
It's got to happen.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen organically.
Yep. It's going to happen.
And so we definitely got to get him his podcast with Gary, and just continue to share, subscribe to the channels that I run, because it helps me to continually grow the podcast, to have amazing people like Charles come down and hang out with Kenji and I. So on that note, I appreciate all y'all for fucking with us. But for now, peace.